Okay, dann springen.
Ja.
Ich habe ein rotes liegt auf dem Stoß. Oder das OB.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are finally live again. Hope everything works as usual. Please give your feedback. Funny, I was just turning on the camera and realizing that damn, I don't even have a shirt on. You know, not even my usual professional tank top shirt with which I usually stream. So Mona brought me my shirt for streaming now. You can bring the tank top as well?
Yes.
Okay, then let's maybe go with the tank top because it's super hot in here. You have to realize, today again, another super humid hot day, man. The lawn session today was quite a struggle. I sweated like a pig. Yeah. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about today. I hope you've got your questions ready, my friends. So there we go. Beautiful tank top again. Then we can have a little bit of heat regulation here if things get too crazy. As usual, we've got the towel here in the background so that I don't stick to the chair too much, which is what usually happens when it's hot like that. Adam Ondra won the World Cup. What a nice surprise! I just read it on 8day.nu. I mean, I'm quite a heretic when it comes to climbing competitions. I've said it before and I'm saying it again. I don't really watch a lot of climbing competitions anymore. I used to watch them, but not because I was so much interested into the climbing per se, but more because it was kind of a social event, you know, with my climbing buddies hanging out on some sort of climbing trip. And then we had access to internet, and nicely as they live stream the competitions live through the internet via YouTube, which is what anyone should do, you know, who lives in the modern world. So that they did quite nicely in the past, and they're still doing it now, which is of course amazing. And this is when I watched a lot of climbing competitions. Nowadays, I don't really watch climbing competitions anymore, and so it came to be that I missed the first World Cup of this season because last time I was talking with Mona about this thing. It would be kind of a cool idea, I think, if maybe we could arrange something on this live stream channel here that on time, you know, when the World Cups start, the competition starts, and there comes the live feed from the IFSC, that I do some sort of commentary here on my streaming channel. Of course, I cannot show the live picture from the event because then I would get copyright flagged right away, and this wouldn't be possible. But of course, I can do some live commentary to the thing. And then if you're somewhere at home or something, you could watch the live feed of the event and my commentary to that, if you would prefer that, so over the commentary of the commentators, which they have anyway, right, on the event. But I was always thinking when I was hearing the commentators, oh man, that's so cringy. No, it doesn't really. I always had the impression that I was more into the climbing than they were, you know, and you know, of course they were professional commentators, right? They make things exciting. They talk about a lot of stuff. But not really a lot of climbing relevant or technique relevant stuff. I don't know if that has changed by the way right now, by now. And maybe they've got some more professional guys up there. And as far as I remember, they always also had one pro climber sitting up there doing some additional commentary, which is what was very well needed and appreciated, because usually the main commentator didn't really have a lot of climbing experience that way, and a lot of not really necessary and not really correct comments were made, and often they were corrected by the pro. Actually, you've got Mona almost coming into the frame.
Look how many minutes you have.
How many minutes I have? This is 4:26. Maybe Mona gets the chance today to do a little bit of timestamps again. Talking about timestamps, I'm so sorry I didn't get to timestamp the last stream yet. That's gonna still occur. Okay, now after this stream, I've got 2 streams to timestamp then, but this is gonna happen, definitely. I just didn't get to it, man. I don't know. It was kind of a busy week. I was quite busy doing my 2 obligatory lawn sessions and cardio sessions, I must say, one of which took place today, because today it was at least not as humid and as wet and super hot as it was yesterday, okay? And yesterday was just crazy. You basically made 3 steps and you were covered with sweat. Today it was kind of cloudy and it was much more okay. A little bit of wind coming from the forest, cool wind. That was very much appreciated. So I had a pretty good lawn session today. That was cool. What did I do? Well, what I do almost all the time with the lawn sessions, first of all, I do a mobilizing routine to get into the flow, Then I do the agility stuff. At the moment, I'm working on the rondat to get faster and more dynamic with that. And I was also working on the wheel without hands, the cartwheel without hands, which is also called aerial, if I'm not mistaken. And I got one really beautiful one. Actually, I got more really beautiful ones, but I only got one on camera. But maybe I can show that really soon on some sort of video. And I was also working with the overhead flips because I actually wanted to be able to do them without having to touch the ground with the head, which requires quite a lot of shoulder strength, okay, and dynamicness out of the delts, which is something that I'm lacking. It's funny because you actually, I can do a quite solid handstand push-up, quite a couple of them actually back to back in the meantime. So you would assume that you have this kind of strength in the shoulders in the meantime, obviously, but it is something completely different to load the muscle statically compared to using it dynamically. This is something that I realize more and more. And this is why always your training routine should contain at least some sort of agility, explosiveness, dynamic exercises. And it's also, when it comes to, I think there's a couple of studies done actually, when it comes to overall health outcome and longevity and stuff like that, the people that were able to retain their explosiveness and agility into old age had significantly better health outcomes compared to people who just retained something like let's say running a marathon or something like that. Okay, so running a marathon is a pretty homogeneous. It's not static, obviously, but it's quite. It's not. There is no sprinting. Okay, the opposite of a running would be sprinting, and sprinting, something explosive, something agile, seems to have much more relation towards general health than being able to run a marathon. Yeah, at least that's what these studies suggest. So I think it could be a good idea, since climbing is also a very static sport. I have the feeling, at least if you do outdoor climbing on rock, let's face it, a lot of stuff is locking off really small holes, horrifically bad small holes. There's not really a lot of jumping in there. There's not really a lot of, all this agility stuff in there. Maybe more if you do modern competition bouldering. Talked about that. Then you might get a little bit more of that stuff in. But I, as a main outdoor rock climber, I'm pretty static, and I got kind of slow compared to how fast I was when I did the Shaolin Kung Fu stuff. And this is basically what I do now. I take these old exercises, which they showed me in the temple when I was there still, and take some of them to the lawn and try to really, again, just simply get better at these, get faster at these, get more explosive, more agile. And I have the feeling that, I can progress quite quickly with that, actually. The body remembers quite well where it already was in terms of fitness. So, that's pretty interesting to see how that develops. It was another thing that I wanted to talk about. The next thing I can talk about is the little one is now not 5 years, obviously, but 5 weeks old. 5 weeks old. Can you imagine? It survived 5 weeks. We survived 5 weeks. Yeah. But it's cool to see how the development is. It's getting fatter. It's getting a little. I always say it's now more springy. Springy with bouncy with fat. Because when we carry it around, it lays on its cheeks like that, and the whole head is bouncing around on the cheeks because the cheeks are, a little bit fatter than they were. So it's gaining quite nicely with weight and everything. Funny to see how this stuff develops. Very interesting as well. And and another thing that I want to say, which is of course super important as well, we've got a new lighting setup. I managed to kind of, with a hint of Mona, I must say credit has to go where credit is due. Mona gave me the tip to take one cloth diaper that we have. I think it's even a wet one, right? It's probably it's peed on. Yeah, I don't think that we have any cloth diapers left anymore that are not peed on. But anyway, we took the peed on cloth diaper and put it on this light here that I'm using to light for the live stream. And this made the light much more convenient and confident, I must say. Confident, yeah, it's a very confident light, obviously. But it's also much more convenient because now the light is much more diffuse and it's not like that kind of a sharp light anymore, At least I hope so. And as far as I can see here on screen, I'm still quite... I'm lit quite okay. What do you think? I already got some feedback on the quality, so that's amazing. Thanks for that. And of course, one last thing that I must mention as usual at the beginning of the stream, relatively at the beginning of the stream, before I forget, please drop a like on the stream if you're here. Okay, that would be very much appreciated because then the stream gets ranked higher in the algorithm. A lot more people get to see it. It's very much appreciated. Thanks for your Mitarbeit. What's the Mitarbeit called in English?
Participation.
Thanks for your participation. Okay, yeah, thanks for your participation. So let's get into some questions, shall we? I've seen that there's a bit of stuff already. Even before the stream started, we've got one question here by Christopher Rogi, who says, "Hi Manny. Hi Christopher, what's up? What's poppin'? Hope you're all good. Non-climbing related question. All right. You mentioned you do Scottish shower lately. Yeah, actually, I'm still doing it. I do this since about 1.5 years and noticed I get sick less often, from 3 to 4 times to 1 times per year. But at the same time, in parallel, it seems that some sort of allergy symptoms ramped up too. Blocked nose, sneezing. Okay, interesting. Maybe due to better immune system. Did you notice something similar? Thanks. Cheers, mate." Very interesting stuff. Okay, that's very interesting stuff. A very specific question. First of all, before I get into it, yes, I do the Scottish shower thing, but only because it's summer now, okay? I don't do cold showers in the winter because I feel that's kind of counterintuitive. Instinctively, listening to my body. I'm a huge fan of listening to my body, okay? I'm not really good anymore in forcing myself to do something that goes against my senses. And I feel that this way, well, just simply listening to that, I gain the best stability, I gain the best, I get a very stable mood, I get very good general health markers overall, okay? But that aside, yes, I do the Scottish shower thing because I simply like it in summer. Yeah. Now today, again, when I was running my 4 rounds around the house, around the ground here, the land, I was sweating like crazy, man. I mean, it was super hot. Yeah. And I also do sprints in my run because, as I said, I think that sprinting is much more important than the residual endurance stuff. But anyway, so I was sweating like crazy, and then I'm kind of chilling out after the run, taking a few steps in walking speed, really oxygenizing the body, and then really the last drips of sweat keep pushing through my skin. I can really feel it. And once I'm done sweating, I go up, I take a shower, and I start with body temperature, and then at the end I go pretty low. Okay, I don't know what the exact temperature is. We have this kind of temperature scale on my shower and on our shower, and I go somewhere below 20. Okay, which is coming from a very hot state that feels pretty cold. It's not even that cold, probably. So it's not like I'm pouring freezing cold water over my body. Okay, I don't like to go that extreme with it. I don't think that's necessary as well. But I just have the feeling that something that gets better is skin, okay? Skin, after a sweat like this, the sweating really opens up the pores. A lot of stuff is coming out from the inside. Hopefully, that's a good process, okay? Hopefully, some wastes get out there. This is what I really like about the running, because with climbing, training for climbing, I usually never sweat. Yeah, just doesn't happen. I'm also not a big fan anymore of training endurance in terms of climbing, as you might know, because I find it much more effective to just simply get back into endurance once you actually need the endurance, which is when you are on a trip. Yeah? When you start your trip, your first 2 weeks are dedicated to simply get back into the endurance stuff, the power endurance, the shaking endurance, and that kind of thing. I don't really am a fan anymore of doing that in a bouldering gym or in a rope climbing gym, for that matter. However, of course, there's nothing wrong with doing that if your trip is cut very short. So you have only 2 weeks of trip, yeah, which is by far the majority of people out there. Well, then it makes sense to start training the endurance a little bit earlier before the trip starts, so that once the trip starts, you actually already have it. Now, for me, if I do a climbing trip, I don't think I will ever in my life do a climbing trip for only 2 weeks anymore, at least if it's further away, because it just doesn't pay off, in my opinion. But anyway, for me, I have the time to just simply get back into endurance when it's when I need it. And we're rambling again, off topic like crazy. Isn't it amazing? I like this live stream format, man. I like this live stream format. We've got a little bit of raspberry water here in the good old live stream receptacle. Today we're rocking the Paulana again. Cheers. Yeah, so anyway, what I wanted to say is I wanted to get back into sweating again, because usually I don't sweat when I train for climbing, because I don't do any endurance stuff really. Back in the day when I did the Shaolin Kung Fu stuff, I sweated like a pig, I can remember. And this was 2-hour sessions. I have to get rid of a little bit of fiber in my mouth now. Damn raspberry fiber. Okay, so I sweated like a pig during these Shaolin Kung Fu sessions, and I really liked that. Yeah, the shirt was completely wet. You could wring it out afterwards. And I wanted to get back into that because I had the feeling always after these sessions, I felt really good. Yeah, I felt really fresh. I felt kind of detoxed, if you want to call it like that. Got rid of a lot of stuff. Who knows what happens there exactly, yeah. But you're opening up your pores, and then once you're done sweating, it could be a good idea, to close the pores again, to have this smooth, sweated out, silky skin again. And for me, the Scottish shower is just that fulfills this purpose just perfectly. Yeah, I have also the feeling that it's quite good for the hair and everything. So I just really like it. And when it's hot like that, it's also amazing to just cool down the body further, to get rid of the exhaustion from the run and everything. So this is how I implement cold showers. I'm not a huge fan, I must say, of this whole, okay, you need to take cold showers because then you ramp up your immune system and then you never get sick and all that. Is that really the case when we're honest with ourselves? I don't know. Yeah, the fact that you get less sick now during these 1.5 years that you do your cold showers, this could be due to anything. Yeah, this could be also due to something else, to be honest. Maybe you changed something else as well. Then it could be that. Yeah, in my opinion, getting sick like that, like you describe it, with stuffy nose and having a flu, mild stuff like that, is often very linked to diet. Okay, very often people eat something bad, quote unquote bad, and they get an immediate detox reaction from that. And usually these kind of flu and stuffy nose things, they are just simply detox reactions from this stuff. I also nowadays get this stuff very, very rarely anymore, because I feel that, I've cleaned up my diet to a point where my body just simply doesn't need to be sick that much anymore. But now I have a big mouth. Okay, now I have a big mouth. I can talk a lot because it's summer now. Not a lot of people get sick in summer. Now we approach the end of summer, and usually that's when the first sicknesses ramp up again. It's just so that the body simply needs these colder temperatures or whatnot to ramp up these detoxification processes, and that's when you get sick. Okay, that's when the flu season starts and everything. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole, okay, let's do cold showers because then we have better oxygen delivery to the cells, and then we have better immune response, or what, this whole Wim Hof thing. It's cool if you can stand super cold temperatures. Okay, I admit it. It's pretty cool if you have the balls to do that. Yeah, to be quite frank with you. But whether that's something that has something to do with health, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure. And it's also, longevity wise, you're just burning crazy amounts of calories unnecessarily, really. And I'm not sure if it really, if you just start your climbing go with a couple of deep and regular breaths to keep you calm, to keep you well oxygenized, then you have 90% of what you can do with breathing in climbing, in my opinion. Yeah, the whole cold showers, Wim Hof thing, to increase your performance and whatnot. I don't really buy it. Okay, I don't really buy it. It can't be this complicated and this much against your senses to get to your maximum performance. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really add up to me. But cool that you do it. Okay, cool that you, interesting to see that you have more allergy symptoms. For me to say that this is because now your immune system is better and you ramped it up via these cold showers, that's a very far stretch. Okay, to say, to attribute that to this effect, it's kind of iffy. I wouldn't put my hand in the fire for this for this claim. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. I haven't noticed similar symptoms, by the way. For me, I was rarely getting sick already. I do rarely get sick now, regardless of the Scottish showers or cold showers, really. So let's keep on. Climbing AC says, hello, Climbing AC, what's up? Christopher Rogi says, audio and video good, thanks for the feedback. Climbing AC, any tips to recover from wrist injury? Don't do handstands, don't do bridges, don't do any hardcore pushing stuff. Avoid anything that gives you pain. Okay, like for example, I have made the experience for the 4 fingers open grip. Okay, as you can see, if I mimic a 4 fingers open grip here on screen, you can see that since my fingers are not equally long, it's kind of a tilted diagonal there, the line that they built. Okay, so if you got a straight edge like that, like on a hangboard, for example, and you train on the 4 fingers open grip, it just so happens that some of us tend to tilt the wrist, to get all 4 fingers on the edge. Essentially, they have to do it because not all fingers are equally long, and some people actually have troubles with that in the wrist. Okay, when the wrist tilts like that, and they do it over and over again, maybe they do some repeaters or whatnot. This can really aggravate wrist problems and aggravate inflammation of the wrist. So if you have something like that, also stop it. And apart from that, listen to your body. Don't do anything that hurts. Let it heal. Don't rest it completely. Okay, keep it active. Keep using it however you used it before, just not in the bad way that you obviously reached the injury with. Yeah. So that's what I would say. Or exercise. Yeah, well, doesn't hurt to stretch that stuff from time to time. Okay, really go into full range of motion, turn your wrist like that, keep it warm. Yeah, much more I don't have to say about that. Yeah, I personally did not have in the past a lot of wrist problems. I remember that when I learned the handstand, which was now almost 15 years ago, I must say, that was in the Turnunterricht, the sports exercise education in school. Okay, that's when I started to get into handstanding, and there I actually got my first wrist injuries because if you go from 0 to 100 when it comes to handstanding and you're fully motivated to get it done and everything there, then of course you get some overload there, right? But that's over now, and I'm over that, so I'm fine when it comes to this. Smarnka says, yo dude, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream, Smarnka. What's your opinion on the beta stick, or the pussy stick as my mates call it? Yeah, that's a very good that's a very good name for it. It's a stick where you clip the first or second quick draw so you don't hit the ground if you fall at the beginning of the route. Yeah, look, these things have their purpose, okay? There's crazily bolted routes out there. I mean, if you go to Czech sandstone, yeah, where the first bolt is like 5 meters up in the air and you basically have to free solo up until there, and there's not even the easy moves of the route there. Okay, it could be there was one 60 plus, I remember. The crux of this 60 plus was on the way to the first bolt, and the first bolt was 5 meters up in the air or something. So that means you essentially have to be able to climb the grade. You have to stand above the grade, actually, so that you can do it. Yeah. Other than that, you just fall to the ground and your partner has to catch you, or I don't know what happens. In these kind of situations, I mean, of course, you would be stupid to not use something like that if you have it. As a matter of fact, I am using things like that sometimes too. I just don't have a clip stick, okay? I use a stick from the ground, a wooden stick. They tend to get quite long somewhere, okay? Here, there's always some trees around the crags, usually in the middle of Europe. So there's usually something that you can improvise into a clip stick, and then you can clip the first bolt from the ground. Yeah, I can make a video about that to show how that works. It's pretty simple. You just need a piece of tape and a stick like that. That's long enough. But anyway, and you don't even need a piece of tape, by the way, if you already have the quick draw in there. If you already have the quick draw in and you just need to get the rope in and you're not able to rodeo clip it, which is another cool thing that I could actually make a video about at some point, because there's quite cool techniques actually to make your rodeo clip pretty efficient. But yeah, obviously in these kind of dangerous situations, it's smarter to use it rather than to say, oh, it's a pussy stick, I'm not going to use it, look at this idiot. What I don't like to see is when people take this thing on their harness and then they climb the whole route with that freaking thing, okay? And always pre-clip the next quick draw. I mean, what kind of projecting is that? Not only does it cost a lot of time, not only does it add a lot of weight to your harness, and it's super inconvenient probably to climb with that thing, it's not really going to give you a lot. How is this going to increase your confidence? Yeah. People try to avoid big falls with this strategy. But why avoid big falls? The big falls are there for a reason. They actually teach your fear of falling, okay? And if you wanted to ever at some point project this route in the first place, then you needed to have these falls in your head already, yeah, to make you able to give serious project attempts. So if you carry a clip stick up this route, then you're just avoiding that simply, and you make the projecting process just that bit longer, okay? Because yeah, I don't do it. I just try to get all the draws on myself on the first go of a route. If I don't actually, yeah, at this point, I mean, it rarely happens. It doesn't happen at all, to be honest, at this point. But I don't get onto something that I can't put the draws on myself. Yeah. This just didn't happen in the last couple of years. I don't know. Maybe I just simply got strong enough to, or maybe I just got so good in estimating my strength simply that I managed to always get the draws on myself. Yeah? But I would very much recommend you to just simply try this approach, because that way you get the falls in, you get more falls in, your belayer also learns to catch you from the certain route situations, okay? Everything's something that you avoid if you just carry the clip stick up with you, yeah, on a route. So yeah, certain dangerous situations when the first bolt is super high up, yes, go for it. Why not? It would be stupid not to. And don't carry it on the freaking route, okay? Simple as that. Let's take a sip from the live stream receptacle. Again, today we're rocking the Paulana with some raspberry water. Mm-hmm. This is something that I can very much recommend. We harvested these raspberries when they were ripe, I think 1 or 2 months ago. And obviously they are ripe only for a very short period of time. Yeah. So if you want to be able to make something like this, you have to freeze them. So we got them in a kind of a plastic bag, froze them in the freezer, and now from time to time you can pretty much use them as ice cubes. Yeah, you take them out of the bag, throw them in there to the water, and as they acquire the temperature of the water, and as they melt down in there, they kind of releasing this nice raspberry flavor. And it's not sweet at all. Yeah, so it's just that tiny bit of raspberry flavor, and I really liked it. That's amazing. Mike K says, "Hi Manny." Hi Mike, what's up? I'm just driving back from the weekend trip to the granite rocks of Poland, I must say. Close to the Czech border. Okay, cool. Just driving back from the weekend trip to granite. Just to clarify, a much bigger limestone area is actually north of Krakow. Okay, cool, Krakow. There's great climbing tradition in Poland, and I personally know a guy, he's now 60, who established a sport route in the late 80s, which was just 1.5 a grade easier than the toughest route in the world. Okay, cool. Sounds very interesting. Sounds very promising. Where is Krakow? Let's see. Krakow, Stadt in Polen. Let me have a look. Wow. That's actually not so far away from where I live. It's quite in the south of Poland. And on the way, there is Brno in the Czech Republic, which, as we know, thanks to Ondra, has a couple of amazing crags as well, and also amazing bouldering. So yeah, why not visit this stuff at one time and check these crags out? Yeah, sounds interesting, man. Thanks for the tip. Jean Ramezes is on the stream again. What's going on? Hi, Manny. Yeah, light is far better. I'm not sure. Is it really light? Is it really better on screen as well? I hope so. That would be cool. At least for me, it's better because it's not stinging into my eyes as much as the old version of the light. Jordan Heller says, I accidentally C-clipped today. How does this happen? And how do I not do it? By the way, the lighting is better. Amazing. Lighting is better. That's amazing to hear. So we're going to roll with that from now on. How to not C-clip. Usually the C-clipping thing happens when does it happen? When bolts are very close together, okay? Let's say bolts are very close together and you're so close still to your last clipped bolt when clipping the next bolt that it could happen that instead of grabbing the one end of the rope where you tie it into your harness, you grab the other end of the rope, which is on the other side of the quick draw, put that into the next quick draw, and then you C-clipped. Yeah, something that usually does not occur on the outdoors for the simple reason being that on the outdoors usually the distances between bolts are a bit bigger. Yeah. Except for when you have that super special boulder crux and you just really need to have the ability to clip yourself through this crux because you still can't do all the moves yet. Okay, so then sometimes people place something that I would call projecting bolts, yes, which are bolts that make the projecting process easier, but do not necessarily contribute to the safety of the route. Yeah. And usually also you don't clip these projecting bolts when you do project attempts, real red point attempts, because they would cost simply too much energy and they don't give you enough safety in return. So it doesn't pay off to clip them. Yeah. But in rope climbing gyms, I mean, they have certain standards. They have to put these bolts quite close together. I remember that from my own rope climbing gym as well, where I worked for the longest time. So what I would do is just simply pay attention. Yeah, pay attention that you don't grab the wrong rope. Grab close to the knot. Yeah, grab close to your harness. And then, I mean, it's just so that you can't pull out rope at once, a lot of rope at once, which will make your clipping a little bit less efficient. But yeah, you have to put it to your mouth and put it in afterwards, or you just simply throw it up with your hand and put it in afterwards. Yeah. But if you want to avoid C-clipping, then you have to grab close to the knot, grab close to the bin, to the to the harness essentially, and it only can really happen in rope climbing gyms in my experience. Yeah. Nico says, C clipping happens when you take the rope from before the first clip and clip it into the second clip. Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's only possible if the distances between bolts is very short, right? If the distance between bolts is sufficiently long, you're not going to C clip. That's simply not possible. Isaac Ruby says, favorite rock types for roots and boulders. Limestone is amazing, man. I really like the East Austrian limestone climbing. That's what I was raised on. Okay, that's what I was raised on, and that's what I'm accustomed to. I like the on-site-ability. I like the crazy boulderiness that it gets to when it comes to higher grades, which is usually the case because this kind of limestone does not really exhibit any regularity like the limestone in Spain or limestone in Greece, for example, where you have regular tufas coming down, or you have regular edges coming up on the limestone, because the limestone there is of a much more homogeneous and more, we should say it's of a better quality. Okay, you could say it's a better quality. I mean, in Greece, you often have very chossy limestone, which is a problem there. Here you have very compact limestone usually, but it's super irregular. Okay, there's a pocket there, then there's a little edge there, a little pinch there. Makes it very hard to read, makes it very hard to on-site, makes it very hard to climb on. Very interesting to climb on, though. And this is also the stuff, by the way, that Adam Ondra got good on. Yeah, this is, as far as I know, in the Czech Republic, most stuff looks like this as well. Apart from the stuff which is far in the west, which is the sandstone thing, this is, of course, a different game. Yeah, but yeah. That's what I like. Yeah, that's what I simply am accustomed to. But I must say, I've climbed on amazing granite as well already. I've climbed on amazing sandstone. The Czech sandstone is just amazing. Yeah, if it wasn't for the crazy bolting that they did there, this would be a world famous area, world famous climbing area for sure. Okay. But they did the crazy bolting there, and it's not even such a bad idea, because this way they protected this area from the big climbing tourism. Yeah, because let's face it, not a lot of people will be willing to risk their life on the way to the first bolt. Yeah, for that, or for that 7C or for that 8A that they can climb there. Who knows? Yeah. That's just the way it is, and that's what you have to anticipate when you're climbing these kind of areas. But the climbing itself is just crazy good. It's amazing. Jordan Heller at Nico, thanks. But is there an easy way to make sure that it doesn't happen? Yeah, we talked about it. Grab close to the knot, and that's that way you can avoid C-clipping. Do you play the guitar? Yes, I play the guitar since I was 7 or 8 years old or something, actually. So I'm pretty long time guitar player, on and off, of course. Okay, never consistently, never. The guitar thing was one of these things that I had as a side hobby, really. I was always more into the athletic stuff. I don't know. I was always more psyched for the martial arts or the Shaolin Kung Fu or the climbing, for that matter. Whatever, I was just, falling into at the moment, really, that got my full attention, and the guitar playing always was kind of a side thing. Yeah, but I must say, in recent times, okay, so how did it actually go? First off, I started with a teacher, actually, when I was back. Classic story. Yeah, your parents want you to play an instrument. Who knows why? Okay, but okay, your parents want you to play an instrument. You get to choose an instrument. I chose the guitar. So they gave me a teacher. Super expensive, of course, expensive stuff. I mean, I think this teacher took 40 euros for half an hour or something. Yeah, so this is seriously expensive stuff, in my opinion, at least. Probably there's more expensive guitar teachers out there, but for me, that was expensive. Anyway, if you have a teacher and you have an appointment once per week, so that you show the teacher what you have learned, yeah, that you show your homework, what happens, of course, you don't do freaking homework. And even if it's only the smallest, tiny, little, shitty piece of music work, okay? If you got it via homework from a teacher, you will just naturally avoid it. You will just naturally sneak your way around it. You will always have something better to do, whatever, okay? As long as I had a teacher in guitar playing, I did not make a lot of progress at all. I did decent progress. I learned how to read notes. That was maybe the most useful thing about this. And I think I actually I'm even able to read notes, although I never use notes for playing the guitar. Yeah, I always play out of my head or via simple YouTube tutorials. Yeah, or I simply try to learn by watching the player play something. But usually not with notes. But anyway, as long as I had a teacher, obviously I was kind of repulsing that whole thing. Then something interesting happened. The teacher, my parents did not want to pay the teacher anymore because it was so expensive. Yeah, so I put the guitar to rest. And then my dad did something. He bought me a new guitar. Okay, he bought me a new guitar. He bought me a serious guitar. To be exact, it's this guitar here. Okay, this is a pretty nice guitar, I must say. It's a so-called Ovation. Yeah, this is a brand of guitar makers, and what they do, as you can see, they make these oval bodies. So it's not like these usual guitar bodies, which are kind of have corners and stuff, but it's kind of a round guitar like that, and it has a really nice sound. It's metal strings. It was really cool to get into this guitar, and I got a new guitar. I had no teacher anymore. What did I do? I went to YouTube and looked for something to play. And of course, this is when my guitar playing really picked up. This is, how old was I back then? Maybe 15, 14, something like that. Yeah. After maybe 3 years of not playing the guitar because I had no teacher anymore and I had no motivation to really do it, I got a new guitar. I got into YouTube. By the way, this is also how I learned English. Yeah. Did I learn English at school? No, not at all. Obviously, I had really bad English grades, usually. Yeah, really bad. Decent, not good. Not in any way, shape, or form good. Yeah. When did I learn English? When I got into YouTube, because I wanted to understand what these people are saying on the web. Yeah, the internet was a super big motivation, and is still a super big motivation. Yeah, this is when my English picked up. This is when my guitar playing picked up. So, and ever since, I'm playing the guitar actually quite regularly. Yeah, so now I bought myself a new guitar recently again. This is just a standard classic guitar that you're seeing right behind me. This is what I use to play things like Asturias or the Spanish Romance and all that kind of stuff, the flamenco style things, the Spanish style things, and all that. It just simply sounds a little bit better on a classical guitar like that. And I would actually like to also get a specific flamenco guitar, because these are manufactured in a little bit different style than a classic guitar. A real classic guitar has quite a big distance between strings and fret, as far as I know. And the flamenco guitar actually has the strings very close to the fret, so you can be a little bit faster. Quite similar, actually, to the Ovation here. The Ovation, as you can see, has a much narrower fret as well, and the strings are super close to the fret. Yeah, so you can be quite fast on this one. However, the strings are metal, so you have to press them down a lot more than on the classic guitar, and it is quite good training. It also trains the skin really on the fingertips, yeah, for playing the guitar. But anyway, yeah, that's basically my guitar story, and at the same time, this is also my learning English story. Yeah, it went quite parallel like that. So let's see. Where have we been? Matthias Ladstätter says, "What's up, Matthias? Hi, Manny. I'm moving to Graz this autumn." Oh, nice. Do you have any recommendations for sport climbing areas? Yeah, man, there's awesome stuff to the north of Graz. Zigeunerloch, super good. Pegau, super good. Although Pegau seems to be closed now due to the big sea. Okay, the big invisible enemy, the the infectious disease that is going around. Okay, so they had to, of course, close this kind of nature park. Nobody knows why, but anyway, now it's closed. There is also the Bärenschutzklamm, which is amazing, which I think was closed for a short period as well, because there apparently some rock came down or something, and they found it a good idea to close the whole gorge because of this incident. I don't know. Yeah, some people died even during this rock fall. Okay, so not that I'm playing anything down here, but yeah, something like that, in my opinion, can happen all the time. Yeah, so this is if you can't go into nature because you're afraid that a rock will fall down, well, then you can't go out anymore. Yeah, but anyway, so that was closed as well briefly, but I think it's open again. Then we have the Whittaker, which is another great crag. So there you go. Okay, you already have 4. What I must say, though, is that all these crags are quite on the harder side. The easiest one maybe being... Which one is the easiest? I mean, the Bärenschutzklamm, the Weiße Wand, I think, which is quite up there. You have to have a 40-minute approach for that. But up there you get also easier stuff, and really good easier stuff. Yeah, so it's not like that super crappy rock or anything. It's really good rock and good easier stuff. Apart from that, there is a lot of hard stuff, really, but a lot of good hard stuff. And in the small crags like Pegau and Whittaker and stuff like that, it's really bouldery. Yeah, super overhanging bouldery stuff. So this is what you can expect. Have fun, maybe we're gonna meet. Yeah, because I'm actually very close to getting back into climbing. Maybe another thing that I should have talked about right in the beginning, right? But anyway, next week, Tuesday, we're going to visit the climbing gym, my friends, and we're going to do a fitness check. We're going to head first to the Beastmaker, which is waiting up there in front of the 45er for me, for my visit. I will bow down and say, "Oh, dear Beastmaker, please, would you be so kind to take my finger strength, to measure my finger strength?" And I will measure my finger strength with this Beastmaker and the help of a scale, of course. We're going to put that scale below the Beastmaker and we're going to see how much weight I can pull off. Once I'm warmed up, of course. We're not going to do this unwarmed up because we don't want to ruin the fingers right away, right? But anyway, we will we will lay our fingers onto the eminence of the Beastmaker 2000 that is awaiting, that is throning there in front of the 45er. And then we're going to crank down the middle Beastmaker edge. And we're also going to crank down one of the side small Beastmaker edges while stepping on the scale. And then we're going to calculate. Well, that's going to be a hard task, but we're going to calculate how much weight I can actually pull off, and then we're going to write this down and we're going to remember it. And then we're going to see how much finger strength I gain as I'm coming back into climbing. Yeah, and for sure I'm going to make a video about it on the main channel, definitely, because I want to document the coming back process from this super big rest that I had. I mean, over 2 months now. I haven't looked into the training diary for a longer time. The training diary now is pretty much transformed into baby diary. Yeah, so we write down the baby events like, oh, baby for the first time has more solid stool or stuff like that. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that you can now find in my training diary. But that's gonna change soon. Okay, because the little one is now more self-sufficient than ever. And we're going to hit that training diary again with some real notes, yeah, with some kilograms that we pull off the Beastmaker. And then we're going to see how I develop as I'm training, as I'm getting back. That's going to be interesting because I think it should go up quite rapidly, yeah. According to my theory, which is essentially that you do a bigger rest and then come back because the body remembers quite well where you have been. You come back super quickly, and with this momentum, you can actually break through the plateau that you have set on before. But yeah, we will see how it goes. Yeah, next week, Tuesday, we're gonna assess the fitness of the fingers, and we're gonna be pretty sad because it's very low. But we're gonna improve from that quite quickly, I hope. Way off topic, rambling way off topic again. Gotta take a sip from the raspberry water. Phil, what's up, Phil? Hi, Manny. I currently have no climbing partner, so I am only bouldering. Do you think only bouldering for the most time is a way to bump up lead grades too? For sure, man, for sure. Not considering head game / fear. Yeah, I mean, of course you're gonna you can't really train your fear of falling on a bouldering setting. Although you can train your fear of falling from bouldering. So I myself, for the longest time, was actually more afraid of falling from a boulder compared to falling from a route, because that's where I hurt myself. Yeah, falling from a boulder. I never had something bad happen falling from a route. Yeah. Routes are very safe that way, I must say. Boulders are super crazy dangerous, especially if you pay attention to the wrong things, if you really don't know how to place pads and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, bouldering is super efficient for increasing your lead performance. Nothing comes close to bouldering outdoors when it comes to gaining max strength in your fingers. Yeah. You will have smaller holds in your hands than you ever have on a rope climb. And this way, of course, you get a lot better in bouldery rope climbs. Yeah, maybe you lose a bit of endurance, but endurance comes easy anyway. Yeah, who cares about endurance? We just want to have max strength, and that's what bouldering can give you. I've talked about that before a lot. Christopher Rogi says, cold shower, blocked nose. I also thought of diet-related things, but could not relate it to anything yet. Anyway, we could have a long talk about the concept of the cold shower another time. Yeah, we could, man. We could. Interesting. Yeah, cold shower, blocked nose. Christopher Rogi, Dankeschön. Schönen Gruß aus Kärnten. Schönen Gruß aus der Steiermark. Hey Manny, any good plateau breaker tips for finger strength? Yeah, outdoor bouldering. As I've talked just a second ago. Outdoor bouldering, good plateau breaker for finger strength. And if you do something like hangboard training already, change up your hangboard training. Whatever you do, it might well be that you just max out of it, yeah, at the moment. So you change your fingerboard approach, whatever that may be. Maybe you're doing max hangs for the last 2 months already. Then it's time to change something, okay? Try repeaters, try encores, this kind of stuff. Do encores for 2 months and then go back to max strength. Do max strength for 2 weeks again, and you will see you break your past records if you don't get injured in the meantime. Yeah. Change things up. And of course, outdoor bouldering, by far the most effective way to push finger strength. Jean Ramses says, Magnus Midtbo experimented the Wim Hof of respiration method, and he found out that it was good in order to increase your strength, but it makes you terrible in complicated things like climbing. Okay, maybe. I mean, I must assume that since most of us just simply do not really breathe deeply anymore, as I said, climbing and especially bouldering, it is a relatively static sport like that. Okay, it is if we do a boulder in a bouldering gym, for example, most of the time, or at least a lot of the time, we are holding the breath. Okay, we are holding the breath because the moves require body tension. We have to engage the core. Boom, the core becomes a rock. Okay, you can't really breathe. So on certain moves, you just simply have to hold your breath. And it was not, I mean, it's not a coincidence sometimes for people that unlocking this pattern, this behavior of holding breath during a boulder, for them to actually send the problem. Yeah. Sometimes they block themselves so much because they keep holding their breath, because the moves are quite hard. And I can understand, if we hold our breath, the moves become easier doable on a single move basis. But if you have to link some moves together, obviously you're going to gas out at some point and you're going to lose too much strength and you're going to fall off just before the top. Yeah, so actually acquiring a method of being able to constantly breathe still, although you're in a hard climbing problem, this is very often a key that unlocks the problem for the projector. Of course, also as well for route climbing, yeah, and maybe even more so for route climbing. I've talked about this in the context with the first 8C Plus that I sent, I think. I had to train a very specific breathing pattern for my way through this roof before I actually was entering the second boulder crux, because only that way I was efficient enough and I was relaxed enough as soon as the crux starts, so that I was able to stick the moves. Yeah. If I would have powered through all the moves without any irregular breathing, with improvising all the time, then I would sometimes hit it just perfectly, coincidentally, have a good go on the second problem, but sometimes I would just simply hang on this quite good hold before the second problem and would feel already so gassed, and I didn't know why. Well, it was because I messed up my breathing on the way to there. Yeah. So sometimes really breathing helps, and you make a move, you breathe, shake the left hand, then you grab the rope, do a clip, breathe again, shake the hand again, do a move. This is all part of beta, actually. Yeah, this is all part of beta, and this is another thing, another reason why I like route climbing so much, because on your limit route climbs, these subtle, super detailed things matter a lot. Yeah. In bouldering, not so much, simply because the problem length is not so long that it has a lot of space for this much of strategy. Yeah, sometimes they do, because there's crazy long boulder problems out there, but usually they don't. Yeah, usually you don't really you breathe constantly and nicely before you start the problem, then you power through it, and then you breathe again. Yeah, so this is how it goes with bouldering usually. But yeah, maybe that's only my impression. Music Scala is on the stream again. What's up, man? Hi, Manny. Yo. How is the view time getting along? Pretty nice. And how about a live stream at a Crag? Yeah, if you give me internet at the Crag, we can do that, actually. We can do another live stream in the climbing gym, actually, because in the climbing gym I have internet, and we can maybe do a training live stream or something like that. Yeah. Maybe a live stream the fitness check. Maybe a live stream the upcoming fitness check. Would that be a cool thing for you to watch? I don't know. Yeah, as I said, there's a fitness check upcoming next Tuesday. We will hit the climbing gym if everything goes according to plan. Okay, so we never know the future, but if everything goes according to plan, I'm gonna attack a beast maker before I'm actually gonna start training climbing again, so that we have some numbers that we can work with. Yeah. That we're gonna see how much kilograms I'll be able to gain in what period of time, finger strength wise, because I'm coming out of a super long climbing break now, and it will be interesting to see how that develops once I come back. Yeah, so maybe I'll live stream that. Yeah, would be cool maybe. In terms of view time, again, the goal for this channel, the short-term goal, is to reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of public watch time, because then we can monetize it, and then we can enable super chats on the live stream. That would be amazing. In terms of subscribers, we are almost halfway, as you may know. I think we're at 488 now or something like that. In terms of view time, we are actually we surpassed a quarter. Yeah, we surpassed 1,000 hours of public watch time recently, because the last streams did really well. Yeah, that was amazing. And yeah, I'm pretty sorry that I didn't get to timestamp the last stream yet, I must say. Now I have 2 streams to timestamp, namely this one and the last one. So I'm gonna still do that. Don't panic. Yeah, it's just taking time. It was a busy week. But yeah, that's how it's going with the goals. Matt Baird says, did you see the latest White Boys video? Pete Whittaker basically downgraded the crux of silence. I didn't see the video. I heard that the crack climbing specialists, like these guys are, obviously, they attacked the silence route, and that there was some easier solution happening than Ondra did. They found a better solution, or I don't know. Yeah, and so that could be interesting, of course. If Pete can do the crux moves and he can't boulder near V15, silence could be much easier than 9C with different beta. That's a tough claim, I would say. I'm pretty sure Ondra wouldn't have graded it 9C if there was... Ondra spent a lot of time in this route, right? So if there really was an easier solution for him, For Ondra, he would have gone for it, obviously, and then it wouldn't be 9C probably. However, for him, I do believe that it was 9C. Yeah, I'm not sure if he could also do the solution that Pete Whittaker found and suggested. Yeah, in terms of body morphology, probably he should be able to do it because they're not so far apart, as far as I know. But yeah, Pete obviously is a killer Crag climber, so that's that. Ooh, the chat is jumping down again. I think I answer some of the more recent questions now, if you don't mind. Sorry for skipping your question if that was the case. Let's see. Tilly Jed is in the chat again. What's up, Tilly? I think that maybe the outdoor bouldering for increase in finger strength is better on certain types of rock like limestone rather than granite. Could be, yeah. The smooth limestone like that with its super small holes in the east of Austria here is just amazing. I could feel the gains literally from the first session onwards. It's insane. And like this one bouldering area, Merkenstein, which is to the south of Vienna, which is basically where I got into outdoor bouldering. Yeah, I'd never outdoor bouldered consistently before that, but there I got really psyched for it. And the gains were just ridiculous. I could feel it every week creeping up, and I was only doing 1 to 2 sessions a week in Merkenstein, projecting several boulders, not even trying super hard or anything, just because I couldn't anyway, because I couldn't even lift my ass off the ground on most harder problems back then. But I was gaining a lot of strength every time. I was feeling it, and this is when I knew, okay, there's got to be something to this. Outdoor bouldering really is a key to crazy finger strength. Probably the kind of rock matters a lot, and yeah, limestone is very good. Because the greasiness and the small holedness of limestone forces you to hold holds super actively. You can't work with a lot of friction there. You have to hold these shallow pinches, super shallow edges, shallow pockets. You have to hold them super actively. And this just transfers the forces so super well to your muscles of the forearms compared to when you climb with friction. Your skin really holds the weight. Yeah, it's not really the muscles and tendons that hold the weight. It's more your skin. And if you have good skin, then you can climb super well on friction-dependent stuff. But yeah, for really the raw strength that you want to gain from bouldering, something like greasy limestone, which you have to hold super actively, that's where it's at, man. Because there are generally more holes on a limestone face than granite, so you end up with slopey lip traverses on a granite, which are more technical than physical. Could be. Bruno San Giorgio is in the chat again. What's up, Bruno? Do you know what was the grade of the routes of the IFSC lead finals yesterday? City Jet says 8B plus to 8C plus. Yeah, that's pretty much what it should be. That's what they claim to be most of the time. Yeah. 31778 Gaming says normally the routes are around 8C in the men's finals. Yesterday's might have been 8C/plus if I had to guess, with only atom topping. Yeah, something like this. This is what it usually comes out to be. 31778 Gaming is as well in the chat again. Good evening, man. Marcin Tchaikovsky, I should say. Hi, Manny. Hi, Marcin. What's up? Great content. Thanks. Let's say you climb outdoors 3 to 4 times a week. That's a lot. Do you still do any additional finger strength exercises on the rest days? Thanks. No, on the rest days, I would just rest. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be a rest day, right? If you hit your fingers on rest day, then it's not a rest day. What you can do is, if you don't have the feeling that you really got to your limit during your outdoor session, is you can do an evening hangboard session, to add that to your training, and then do, in any case, a rest day the next day. So with 3 to 4 times a week, that's already quite a big load. Yeah, you you would essentially have to always train fingerboard at least after an outdoor session. So let's say you go outdoors Mondays, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and then you already have Sunday and Monday together without a rest day. But then you can always do a hangboard session after the actual rope climbing session. Yeah. But again, in my opinion, really hardcore hangboarding is not much more often possible than 2 times a week. You gotta set yourself reachable goals, reachable regimens, doable regimens. This is where it's at. Yeah, you want to be consistent. Consistency wins the race when it comes to things like hangboarding and everything. Make yourself a regimen that you can actually execute. And something like 2 times a week is usually executable for most people. Most people shoot for 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatnot. But then they usually don't do it, and then they get irregular with their training. Yeah. Rather than doing that, I would recommend set yourself the goal, do 2 times a week. And then, on 2 of your 4 outdoor sessions, you do a hangboard session afterwards, and you do 100% the rest day the next day. Yeah, because climbing after a hangboard session on the evening doesn't really make a lot of sense. You're not going to have access to your full finger strength. Rather, you will have your muscles in resting mode. So give them the time to rest, and use the hypercompensation that you generate via that next rope climbing session, which is the day after this rest day. Yeah. Music Scala says, it's crazy. What's crazy, man? After not bouldering for 5 months, I'm back at my old strength after 2 weeks. Yeah. And I even did some moves on a 7B, even though my max before was 7A. The comeback boost is real. Hashtag no great respect. Yeah. Yes, man. Taking the teachings and applying them and getting results. That's what I want to hear, man. Yeah, man, the comeback boost is absolutely real. I had to learn this the hard way because I never was really injured. And so I wasn't really forced to do a longer break during my climbing career. But other people were. Other people were injured. Friends of mine were injured. They had finger problems, this and that, surgery in the knees, so they had to rest. And guess what happens? They came back from these longer breaks, and soon enough they reached their old level, and they even surpassed it. Yeah. So I saw this on other people, while I myself was still super balls to the walls, try-harding, training hardcore, high-carb vegan days, fueled by carbs like crazy, spending probably much too much time at the gym with crazy low training efficiency, plateauing hard. Yeah, this is how I approached it. I mean, I think I got the most progress that I could eventually got via this, but was it efficient? Was it the most efficient approach? Probably not. Yeah, probably I could have saved a lot of time if I would have trained more efficiently, if I would have placed one or the other bigger rest in my regimen, because then I would have gotten the comeback boost, and then I would have gotten the plateau. Okay, I would have broken the plateau. Whereas this way, I was sitting on the plateau simply for months. Yeah, I wouldn't feel any real improvement. And then only after months, maybe a little tiny improvement again. So these big rests really help. And some people just have to get injured to be able to do them because they are so addicted to the sport, and they are also addicted to training. Yeah, the training addiction is really a thing. Step back from time to time, let the gym be, and just chill out. Okay, chill with your family, do something else, focus on side hobbies for 1 month. 2 months, it doesn't hurt you, okay? And you will come back stronger. You will come back super quickly. That's how I look at it from today's perspective, and that's what I'm putting to practice myself now, and I'm also already curious to see how it goes. Babs Soto says, and I think this is the last comment of the chat. Wow, then I gotta go to the middle again and read some unread comments. You've got to remember that they are all already extremely tired by the finals, so the last man's route could only be 8C. Extremely tired? I'm not sure. As far as I know, they don't climb so much volume during the qualifications and even the finals. I think the finals is one route, right? Is one route, and the qualifications is two routes, and they happen the day before the finals. So in terms of volume, I'm not sure. Is it really that much? I don't know what goes into the. Yeah, I think that the day before is the semifinals, right? Obviously, there's also more stuff to do to get into the semifinals. So there's qualifications and everything, and this is also some volume. But I have the feeling that volume-wise, it's not that much in terms of competition climbing. It's rather you have to have the performance on the spot. Yeah, this is the hard part about climbing competitions. You have to be warmed up super well. You have to read the routes just super well. You have to have routes that suit your style. Yeah, and this is why I say competition. The validity, if that's the word. I already forgot it again. Competition validity is kind of iffy when it comes to climbing competitions because there's a lot of random stuff involved. And this is why we often see results deviating from what we would have expected, because often the best guy just all of a sudden didn't make it even into the finals. Yeah. How can this happen? Because competition validity in climbing is blurry. Yeah, there is not such a safe outcome there. Even if you are the best guy, you can happen to be unlucky and you slip one foot and it's over for you. Yeah, something like that. And this way, I feel they somehow would need to make this a little bit better. Is this just my perception? I don't know. Yeah. At the same time, this is making it quite spectacular. Yeah, because everything depends on that one little foot slip, and this way you have to climb a lot more controlled. You have to be really careful, and that makes it also interesting. Yeah. So maybe it's just me with that. And nobody has the time, obviously, to increase the volume of the competition to 5-10 routes or something where we could really see who's the best climber, yeah, on different styles, because this is really just a snapshot performance. This is just a Stichprobe, we would say in German. I don't know what it's called in English. Let me just quickly look it up. Stichprobe in English. Stichprobe. Random sample. Yes, a random sample. This is makes it quite well. So it's kind of a random sample that we are taking from these athletes. Yeah. And it's not, then we extrapolate this random sample to say this guy is the best guy. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of World Cups, so there's a lot of random samples and a lot of chances for the people to prove themselves to be the best. So in that way, it kind of evens out again, after all. But in terms of a single competition, like, for example, with the upcoming Olympics, I don't know how the mode's going to be in the Olympics exactly. Yeah, and I know they threw everything together in one rating, but how the mode exactly is going to be, how much routes they have to climb and everything. But it feels to me like a World Cup is really just a random sample taken from these athletes, and it can be really, there is a big standard deviation, okay, in terms of result. And we see this in terms of the athletes that come out of the top, on the top. So yeah, let's see what's up after that. There's coming a new comment from Michael Punkochar. Michael Punkochar. Hey Manny, what's up, Michael? I built my hangboard using your tutorial. Amazing, cool. Which is amazing, by the way. Thanks. A while ago, and I made the edges quite sharp with around 1 to 3 millimeter rounding. Yeah, that's quite sharp. However, recently I found that both Dave McLeod's and Lattice hangboard have very round edges, up to 10 millimeter, 20 millimeter edge. Any thoughts on this? Yeah, I feel that round edges are simply better for a number of reasons. Even on my 4 millimeter edge that I have, on my 5 millimeter edge, which is the smallest edge that I have on my hangboard, I have 5 millimeter rounding. I also have one 5 millimeter edge, which has super tiny rounding, like maybe 1 millimeter or something, or 1.5 millimeter even, because it makes it a lot easier to hold even that edge. Yeah, it's just super hard to hold the 5 millimeter with the 5 millimeter rounding. Why? Because you have to hold it just super actively. And this is also what happens if we use the half round circle edges that I have for 3 fingers open gripping. Yeah, here again, the rounding is the edge size. Yeah. What that does is you have to hold the hold super actively, and you have to transfer the force down to your fingertips. Amazing for climbing training, but it's tough to hold that stuff. Yeah, so in terms of training efficiency and training effectiveness, I think that the greater the rounding, the better. And greater roundings actually have another advantage, which is they save you a lot of skin. Yeah, a tiny rounding like that is gonna rip your skin open with time. Yeah, if you're unlucky, and if you already have some kind of skin issues, maybe you climbed, as we talked before. Okay, the guy who does his outdoor sessions and wants to do a hangboard session afterwards. Well, this guy is obviously gonna go to the hangboard with sore skin already. So cranking with sore skin down a sharp rounding like that can be really painful. On a rounding though, it's a different story. So it makes your hangboard a lot more trainable as well if you have very round edges. Not only in terms of training efficiency and effect, but also in terms of saving your skin. Yeah. This is why I at this point prefer the round edges, and also the Beastmaker is in that regard quite good, because the Beastmaker has as well very round edges. Yeah, big roundings on its, especially on its small edges. So they got it right. Yeah, this is also how I build my own edges nowadays. Jordan Heller, hey, do you have any Crag or trad climbing experience? No, not at all. Not at all. I have Crag climbed a couple of routes, but not with trad gear. I just did it when they were bolted. Yeah, but there are quite good Crag climbs actually in Austria on granite and stuff. So this was the most recent comment. Let me take a sip from the water. And then we're gonna go scroll into the middle again and see some questions that we haven't answered from the middle of the chat. Drop some more questions if you're here. And by the way, drop a like on the stream. Thanks, that's appreciated. That helps the stream and the algorithm and everything. That'll be very appreciated. Thank you very much for your participation. This is a Crag, and Pete is the best Crag climber in the world. It's normal, I think, says Sean Ramses to the comment of Pete Whittaker, who found the easier solution for the silence Crugs. Yeah, but I mean, it's still quite impressive. I think he said that he can't do the rest of the route, right? But he can do these Crugs. Sean Ramses, he did the boulder in one session, which I think this Crugs could be rated below V10 if it was just a Crag boulder. The V15 Crux is why it's rated 9C. Yeah. Interesting stuff. I mean, at some point, Adam Ondra is going to end up there again. Probably he's going to try it with Pete Whittaker's solution. And then we're going to see how it really is for him. Is it easier for him, and then he has to downgrade it? Wow, that would be incredible, because that would mean that Alex Megos actually got the first 9C in the world. That would be interesting. Philip Drapejkovsky says, hi, demanitized. What's up, Philip? How are you doing? How do you recover from persistent finger injuries, pains? Don't rest it completely. Don't tape. Keep climbing below pain threshold. Okay? Three rules of thumb that I always use for my finger injuries, and it always worked. It just takes time. This is the thing. These structures lag behind in development. They don't grow as fast as muscles. They take time to heal, okay? keep it warm, keep the blood flow going, keep it active, don't tape, just keep climbing below pain threshold. This is the number one tip that I always give when it's about finger injuries. I mean, actually, these 3 tips, 3 rules of thumb. Sean Ramsey says, Matt Beard, I know I saw it as well, but he didn't say anything about the grade. And V15 is not the grade of a Crag boulder. And Ondra is also a pretty good Crag climber. He is, actually. So I think he knows what he does. We will see. He might have to return and retry it for that to be confirmed or not to be confirmed. I'm not sure the exact wording, but in the Silence mini doc, Ondra says the crux is a V15 with a crazy inverted Crag. I remember something like this as well, to be honest. I remember something like this, crazy hard boulder with crazy sketchy Crag climbing, okay? So much so that if you just happen to place your foot in that Crag a little bit on the wrong angle, you're simply gonna slip out and it's over with that attempt. Yeah. So yeah, it seems to me that the whole route is rather on the sketchy side, and this is the reason why it's hard. Then on the, I mean, when it comes to this crux, at least the rest of the route is obviously super physical and overhanging and everything. I've seen it with my own eyes. It looks crazy. Okay, I was there in Flathanger last summer, so. But yeah, maybe it's also just a very sketchy crux. And if you do the right thing, if you know what you're doing on a Crag, like this guy does, Pete Whittaker, apparently, then it's maybe even, could be easier. I don't think we can contest his 9C when we see his results in comps where he was stronger than the man who climbed the second 9C. Yeah, but these are completely different sports, man. You can't compare it like that. Adam Ondra is just a genius when it comes to these things. Even though I know comp and rock climbing are really different. Okay, here you're saying it yourself. Yeah. Adam Ondra is a special specimen like that. Okay. Doing high-end competition bouldering, high-end competition rock climbing, competition rope climbing, high-end rock climbing on boulders and on rope. The more we get into the high-end areas of these sports, in my opinion, we're talking about different sports altogether, especially with the bouldering stuff. So the new kind of coordinative jumping around bouldering style that they now set is something completely different from outdoor bouldering. So to be good at all of these disciplines requires just amazing training and experience. It simply requires experience. It requires mileage in all of these disciplines. That's what I say always. You want to get the one thing that you want to get better at, just simply do this thing. And obviously he did all of the things. Yeah, he participated in all of these kind of competitions. He's got the competition mileage. He's got much more competition mileage than Alex Megos does. Yeah, so Alex Megos could be the stronger climber of the two, but because Adam Ondra has the competition mileage, he has the experience with competitions. Again, as I've said, one foot slip and it's over. Yeah, we really have a random sample here. Alex Megos can just have bad luck and it's over for him. Yeah, so for Alex Megos, because he does not have the competition experience to really show his climbing strength in a competition setting, it is much harder for him to do that than for Adam Ondra, who has much more competition experience. So that's why I say this is competition validity. Okay, this is a competition validity issue. Climbing competitions do not necessarily put the best climber to the top. Yeah, it's really just more a random sample at this point. But yeah, there's more competitions in a World Cup than one, and with time it should even out. But what's definitely the case is that you need to have experience in competitions and experience in this kind of competition climbing to be able to perform in this kind of setting. And if you like to do that, then go for it. That's plastic climbing, a lot of endurance. You're going to have a lot of drills in your rope climbing gym, a lot of endurance climbing, shaking, and stuff like that. I'm just not the guy who's into that a lot. I just like being out in nature and have some amazing adventures. Yeah. So that's why you don't see me a lot in competitions, but which is something that I get asked a lot as well. Dude, why don't you do competitions? Well, this is the reason. I like to be outdoors. I like to breathe fresh air. I don't really like to breathe tiny little rubber particles and chalk particles all the time because I'm climbing on plastic all the time. Yeah, not so much into that. And there we have the middle questions done as well. Let's look into the more actual questions now again. Torben Busiek says, hey Manny, hey Torben, what's up? Matthias Ladstetter says, have you tried the Wild Country Revo belaying device? And what do you think of it? No, I haven't tried it. What do I think of it? I think it's, the belaying device market is just, a lot of different brands, a lot of different companies try to make it there, try to make their money there. They sold this device as, wow, it's so amazing. You don't even have to care in which direction you have to put the rope in and all that, which is super dangerous, in fact, if you really think about it from a climbing instructor perspective, which is what I am. Yeah, I mean, I did this education and everything, and all these instructors were always saying that's a bad idea because all the other belaying devices exhibit a certain directionality in which you have to put the rope in, otherwise they don't work. So if a guy starts climbing outdoors on a Revo and they forget the Revo one day and they have to belay with a Grigri, for example, which is another super amazing belaying device, which I don't understand why just not simply everything is belaying with a Grigri in a sport climbing setting. But anyway, that's a different topic. Then they put the rope in the wrong way because they maybe think, hey, it's probably doesn't matter in this device as well, right? And then you get accidents like that. So simplifying more and more belaying devices like that leads to danger when people at some point have to step back into older belaying devices. Just like it leads to danger when we invent semi-automatic belaying devices, and then people go from a semi-automatic belaying device back to a tuber, which is not semi-automatic, where you have to really hold actively your freaking braking rope, which is something that you should do as well, obviously, on a semi-automatic belaying device, at least on all that I know. Yeah, but this is, of course, problematic. Why? Then there is the question why. I mean, why is it necessary to make belaying devices even easier to use, even easier to handle? Because, I mean, this Revo thing is a quite big, bulky thing. Why just not simply take a freaking Grigri 2? Yeah, a Grigri 2 is very compact. It's very nice. It's super convenient to belay in a sport climbing setting. It is, in my opinion, still the best belaying device for sport climbing. Yeah, by far, actually. Also the safest, one of the safest. There's a couple of smaller ones and more lightweight ones which have the same functionality as a Grigri 2. But in terms of reliability and also in terms of lifetime, the Grigri has really good numbers, in my opinion. You can use a Grigri really for a long time and for a lot of routes, whereas a lot of other belaying devices, they get kind of carved in very easily because the material is very thin and light, because they want to have it lightweight. They don't want to use so much materials. It's always better to have lightweight gear, right, in the climbing world, because then you can take it up to multi-pitches and whatever. But I think in a sport climbing setting, the Grigri still wins over them all. And in fact, there's a lot of people who still belaying with the first ever Grigri that was produced. Yeah, the big bulky boy, the big bulky first ever Grigri, because this thing does not go bad. Okay, it does not go kaput. This thing just works. Okay, this thing was produced before the times of planned obsolescence. Yeah, these belaying devices are amazing. Yeah, we've got a couple of them still in our rope climbing gym. Yeah, so we are using them as well in our rope climbing gym simply because they can handle quite thick ropes, and we like to use thick ropes because then we don't have to exchange the ropes so much. And then you end up belaying with a freaking Grigri 1, yeah, because it just simply turns out to be the best belaying device for this kind of setting. So yeah, there's pros and cons. The Revo thing is, this is a marketing gag, okay? Whoa, you don't have to care about the rope directionality. That's all this belaying device has to offer, really. Super expensive, super heavy and bulky, and bears the danger of when people get back to actual semi-automatics, they may put the rope in the wrong way and get into trouble, yeah? So all these disadvantages get overlooked, of course, in the face of profitability. But I mean, that's the climbing market. There's a lot of people who try to make it on the climbing market. It's a very young market. That's just like the 110,000 type of hangboard that's coming out, or the 110,000 type of chalk bag that's coming out. I mean, do we need all these hangboards and chalk bags? No, obviously not. But this is a result of a lot of people trying to make it and make their own independent income or whatever in the climbing market. And this is why it is getting flooded with all these different products. It's actually better to fixate on one thing that just simply works. Like for boarding, for example, the Beastmaker 2000. They were just there at the right time, the right place. They made a very good hangboard. It got distributed through the whole world. Okay, a lot of climbing gyms have the Beastmaker 2000, and this is now what a lot of athletes compare their numbers on. That's just how it goes. Yeah, if you want to compare your numbers with different athletes, you gotta have a Beastmaker 2000 because that's where they do their Instagram shots and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Then comes lattice training with their own hangboard and whatnot. Yeah. Why cannot lattice training take a Beastmaker 2000 as well? Simply, then we could do a lattice test at home. Yeah, but then we don't have to pay them for a lattice test. So these things, they always cook their own soup so that they can sell their own soup. Yeah, but it makes everything less accessible for the individual, and this is, of course, a bad development, in my opinion. Everything should be as accessible as possible for everybody. Ever done barefoot climbing? Yes, I did barefoot climbing, but not in any serious way. Nothing hard. Music Scala, can you make a test on how much the thumb matters in gripping with half crimps? I'm not talking about full crimps or pinches. I feel the thumb is often forgot as a tool to increase friction. You mean the position of the thumb while half crimping, whether it is like this or like this or like this or something? But how much does it really matter? I don't know. I have never tested that. Yeah. With a half crimp, just to clarify that, we don't use the thumb on the edge, but this is what you meant with, you're not talking about the full crimp, obviously. But in terms of, I can imagine you mean the positioning of your thumb in the rest of your hand, essentially. And I have never measured it, but I would guess that instinctively you will always put it somewhere where you get the most force and most friction into your fingertips while doing the half crimp. So it doesn't really matter, I think, to measure different positions, because instinctively you will always choose the best position anyway. Yeah, but it could be interesting. Johan Hirzel says, what's up, Johan? Why is it not good to tape the injury? I've talked about this previously. I think that tape is like introducing a foreign force into your tendon and joint structure. And these tendons and joints, they rely on very specific and very joint-specific and tendon-specific directions, so that the individual cells of your tendon know in which direction they have to lay out the collagen fibers. Yeah, because that's how it works essentially. You got these cells in your tendons and they synthesize collagen all the time. If you remove the physical stress from your tendons, these cells, I mean, let's say you would not move your finger for a year. You would just keep it static like that, so that all your tendons never experience the normal stress that they usually do, which is actually not even possible, because actually all the tendons in your hand are under tension all the time. We don't feel it, we don't realize it, but watch what happens when you actually rip a tendon in your forearm. This is going down super quickly because it is actually under tension. It is just so amazing. Our hand is just so amazingly constructed that we don't really feel it, but that this allows actually to have so dexterous hands that we have. Yeah. Anyway, so if you would theoretically manage to remove all the stress from these cells, all the directionality of the stress, they would just synthesize collagen in a random direction, okay? They would just synthesize a blob of collagen without exhibiting any direction. And this is actually something that happens very often with scar tissue. Yeah, in scar tissue, the collagen or whatever, the tissue that these cells are synthesizing, it doesn't have any direction. So once you introduce the direction again, the wound is actually weaker at that spot, because again, the direction is still not there. But once you introduce the forces again, the collagen fibers will start to lay out perfectly again, and soon enough you will have a working tendon again. This is how I picture it. Now, once you introduce tape into the equation, you might get, because the tape is taking away force from your tendon, from your pulley, from your joint, for whatever reason you're taping, it takes away force, or it takes away, maybe it introduces force in a strange direction. So this way you're kind of changing the way your cells are laying out this collagen, and you might even get straight back into the injury once you put the tape off again. This is why I don't like to tape for inner injuries, because if I don't tape at all, I just let the directionality be completely the same as always, so these cells do not get confused. But I climb below the pain threshold, which means that the cells get enough of a break to be able to resynthesize collagen so that the overloaded tissue actually heals. Yeah, so this is my theory when it comes to healing all this stuff. That's why I don't tape for inner stuff. I only tape for outer stuff, like splits and skin issues. Torben Bussiek, hey Manny, you talked about generalists and specialists in a previous live stream. Yeah. How do you think does these characters reflect in the work world? Torben Bussiek, which city where you can study in Germany and Austria would you say is the best for rock climbing? Bayreuth, Innsbruck. Interesting questions. Yeah, I've talked about generalists and specialists in the previous live stream. How does these characters reflect in the work world? I would say that, okay, first of all, to start the topic off, I think that I am a generalist. The thing that this is just one of the many boxes that exist in which you can put people, yeah, and obviously this is very much prejudice here and everything, so you have to be careful with that kind of thing, yeah. But the way I see it is there is generalists and specialists. A generalist exhibits the following criteria. When he or she gets into something new, like let's say you start rock climbing, okay, a generalist will make very good gains very quickly with anything that they start anew. Yeah, anything that they start anew, you will make super quick gains. You will get super psyched for it because you make super quick gains because you're a generalist. But what happens after 1-2 years? something else becomes interesting, okay? Because you're losing this initial gains, this initial psych for the thing, and you want this initial psych for the thing again, but you can't have it with this thing anymore, so you have to search for something new. Then you get into Shaolin Kung Fu maybe. At the beginning, super nice, amazing. You make super quick gains. Yeah, you're a generalist. You can do anything. You can do anything quite good, quite quickly. But you don't have the guts to stick through getting really, really good in something, in anything. Yeah, this is the problem of the generalist. The problem of the generalist lost the thrill of starting something new. He lost starting anew in general because he's usually quite good at starting something new, but he's super bad in executing something for a long time. The opposite of that is the specialist. The specialist is not getting super good in the beginning with anything, yeah, with something, usually not. But the specialist has this amazing ability to stick to something for a really, really long time. Because it took him quite a while in the beginning to get decently good, he's already used to the fact that things don't come easy to him or her. So she sticks to it. He keeps working at it. He sticks to something for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years. The crazy specialists out there, they stick to one thing for a crazy long time, and this is how you actually master anything. Yeah, being a specialist is amazing that way, because if you look at all these guys, for example, the guys that build violins, okay, they build violins. Violin making is a mastery of, this is a profession of 50 years. There's 70, 80-year-old violin builders who make the most precious and amazing violins simply because they just have spent so much time with this profession, yeah? And they know the wood perfectly. They know how to sand it down and everything. So this is what I mean with that, okay? I'm a generalist. I could never spend 50 years doing one and the same thing day in, day out. Generalists just can't do that so well, yeah? And this is actually something that goes back to the 5 human types. 5 human types, very interesting concept as well. This is a book, I think, which was written way back in the day, super politically incorrect as well, of course. And this is where usually a lot of truth really resides. But the 5 human types, interesting stuff. So there's the thoracic, the cerebral, the osseous, the bone type, the muscular, and the alimentive. Yeah, these very interesting to look at these. In theory, the way they explain it is that any human being out there has obviously all these kind of organs in its body, and but usually one organ dominates over the others. Yeah, so in the thoracic, it is the thoracic complex. So the lungs and heart and everything that is in the thorax, yeah, your rib cage essentially. So anything that's in there, your blood flow, your respiratory tract and everything. So thoracics, and there's a lot of thoracics out there actually, they have a focus on this kind of system, and usually they are quite quick-tempered. They are also decently athletic very often. So the best athletes usually are a mixture of a thoracic and a muscular type. Yeah, they are quick-tempered, and usually these people are generalists. Yeah, they like to start something new. They love the thrill of something new. They love thrill in general. Yeah, these are mostly the adrenaline junkies and everything. Then there's the muscular type. The muscular type likes to work simply with his musculature because it's just amazingly developed. Yeah, these people like to chop wood. These people like to throw earth around in the garden and all that. They do simple work. Yeah, not because they can't do anything else for that matter, but simply because they like it. Yeah, they like doing simple work. They like lifting heavy things, carrying them around. This is the muscular type. Then there is the thoracic type in terms of athleticism, by the way, is obviously better when it comes to something that is more incorporating the thoracic systems, like running or sprinting and all that, the quick stuff, the oxygen demanding stuff. But anyway. Then we have the osseous type. The osseous type is the bone type. It's funny how they explain that one. I think they said that usually people that are very tall, they are osseous because they have such a very well-developed skeletal system. They have huge bones, large bones, heavy bones. They are tall, tall people. They rest on a tall skeleton. And they are usually a bit slower just in their overall behavior, because bones are super slow. They are super static. They grow slowly, and their focus is in the bones. So they, and it's just funny to see when we watch very tall climbers climb, actually, because usually tall climbers have this problem that they are just a bit slower. They are just not as quick paced as these super tiny little Japanese climbers, for example, which are just jumping around all the time like crazy madmen. So this is the osseous type. This is actually a rarer type. And then there is the cerebral type, which is obviously the dude who is just super into the head work, the reading, the bookworms, the programmer behind the PC. These are people that are usually cerebral. And then there is the alimentive type. The alimentive type is the one that has a very well-built and robust digestive system. And these people like to eat. These people like to be happy. These people like to relax, okay? They like to simply enjoy life and be fat and happy, quote unquote, So very often these are the more corpulent people. It is very, what is the word? Superficial, I think. Superficial, oberflächlich. Oberflächlich. Superficial, yes. It's obviously a very superficial way of looking at people, and this is also the purpose of the whole exercise, to estimate the character of a person just by mere looks. And sometimes you get really very good at that. You get really close to how a person is if you look at just simple things like the hands, okay? The hands of a muscular, for example, they have these really broad fingernails and just really broad and big hands in general. The thoracic has very pointy hands, This is something that I experience very much, for example. I have a very pointy hand with quite short fingers, but very pointy, and thin fingers, which for climbing is actually pretty amazing because you can get into pockets better and all that. But you can look at hands, you can look at facial structure, and theoretically, and also you can look at other body shapes. The thorax, the arms. Usually the muscular type has longer arms. Okay, the thoracic has just falls just in shape of the 0 ape index person. The muscular has usually a positive ape index. But anyway, all these kind of markers you can look at very superficially, and this way you can characterize, you can put people into these boxes. People are never exclusively one thing. Most people are a mixture of a couple of types, mostly 2 or 3 types, but there is one dominant thing most of the time. And it's interesting too, because then you can actually extrapolate their body shape into their character. And this works surprisingly well, very often. Coming back to being a generalist or a specialist, for a generalist, it would be super hard to do, which, as you described, because you asked how would this reflect in the work world. It would be super hard for a generalist to do a monotonous bureau office job. Okay, this would be super hard for a generalist. A generalist always needs Abwechslung. What is Abwechslung? Different stuff, essentially. Okay, Abwechslung. Change, diversification. Yeah, so let's go with diversification. Variety. Variety is a good word. Yeah, a generalist always needs variety. A thoracic, by the way, always needs variety as well. Yeah, they like the thrill of trying something new, and this usually these people are self-employed. They jump from one profession to the next. They do this thing for 2 years, this thing for 3 years, then they do another thing for 2 years. These are generalists. Yeah, the specialist is the guy who sits in the office job for 40 years and just waits for his pension and then gets his pension. Okay, or builds the violin, builds the amazing violins, which is, in my opinion, the better way to go. Yeah, but obviously people choose their own professions themselves. Yeah, but again, this is how I would distinguish between generalists and specialists in the work world, in the modern work world. Which city where you can study in Germany and Austria would you say is the best for rock climbing? Well, of course, Innsbruck is the number one go-to destination, usually for these people, not for me personally, because I don't really see why I could not do that in Graz, for example, as well. Graz has amazing climbing, has an amazing community, super cool city. Why not? But yeah, everybody wants to go to Innsbruck because Innsbruck is not only for climbing, right? It's just in general a super sporty city. So there's a lot of young crew there, a lot of students, a lot of skiers, ski hiking as well. Super popular there. A lot of climbing, of course, a lot of multi-pitches as well, and large climbs, long climbs, yeah. All that thing you can do in Innsbruck because you're pretty much surrounded by high mountains. You're not surrounded by high mountains in any other city in Austria, for that matter, this much. So yeah, Innsbruck would be a go-to place, obviously. And in Germany, I really don't know. I think the things like Nuremberg and München and stuff, they are quite close to super epic climbing as well. I think the Frankenjura is super accessible from Nuremberg and all that kind of area. So yeah, you could climb there as well and study, as far as I know. I'm not a specialist in that kind of thing, but for Austria, it would definitely be Innsbruck, the number one go-to spot. Salzburg, amazing as well. Yeah, has amazing climbing as well, and I think you can study a lot of stuff in Salzburg as well. And again, Graz is amazing as well. Maybe not so much climbing, but the climbing that is there is amazing, and you can still, I'm a relatively strong climber, I would say, and I needed quite some time to climb a lot of stuff in the Graz area. I must say, now that I think of it, I actually climbed a lot of stuff in the Graz area already, but it's because I already had quite decent fitness when I was going there, right? If you're not that in that kind of level yet, then you can work your way up in Graz, in the Graz area, amazingly with the crags that are surrounded there. Yeah, also some bouldering there, so that's amazing. Jean Ramses says, do you think it is better to have rounded edges on your home wall or sharp edges to train your skin? I would go in anything that's training related, take round edges. Yeah. You're ripping your skin apart on outdoor rock anyway already. Yeah. So you always want to be able to train at home without damaging your skin. This is you should go outdoor climbing as much as possible anyway already. Yeah, so on the indoors, it's just about training. It's just about transferring as much force as possible into your forearm muscles, not into your skin. Yeah, we don't want to have friction-dependent climbing. Only have very open, very actively to hold holds on the hangboard as well as on your training wall. And this is going to give you the best results in terms of training. This is also, by the way, what I was setting when I was setting the 45er in this local, in the climbing gym that I worked in. Yeah, super open holds, actively to hold. This is getting the best results simply when it comes to training. Supplian says, "Hey Manny, greetings from Salzburg." Yeah, what's up, man? Greetings to Salzburg from Styria. Do you know how hard the lead climbing routes are in general that are set for World Cups? Yeah, I think they are 8C-ish in the finals. Are regular people allowed to climb on them after the competitions? I don't know. There was a boulder competition once in a climbing gym in Vienna, and after this boulder competition, you could actually try the boulders in the final boulders, yeah, because then they reset them. They don't really reset them anymore. They just leave them in and set other boulders to these boulders in addition, because obviously they need some boulders for the public, yeah, to try some easier boulders as well. But they did not remove those very hard competition boulders. You could actually try them, which was amazing, as I thought. I don't know how it really works with routes, though. I think that a lot of these World Cup routes, they are set on specific World Cup walls, right? Where I'm not sure if you can simply go there and pay some entrance and try the route. Maybe they are also just taken out quite quickly after the competition. Who knows? I don't know. I myself, in any way, have never tried an official competition World Cup route. Torben Busiek says, I feel like the generalist has a harder time in the working world. Yeah, in the modern working world with all the boring jobs that are out there, definitely. Yeah. The generalist is basically forced in the modern world to become self-employed and try different stuff. If he is not self-employed, then he has to be employed because he's switching jobs so much all the time. It's not very attractive for a company to hire him. That's his problem. And if he brings his Lebenslauf, his track record, what kind of jobs he already did, to the next company, and they see that he only worked 2 years there, well, unless they need someone only for 2 years, they will very much consider hiring this guy because they know something happens. Maybe, these generalists, you have to be aware, these generalists are like generalists in their private life as well, okay? They usually jump from one girl to the next. The girls jump from one guy to the next. They can't really set their mind onto something fixed, okay? They just can't. They are not specialists. So then their life circumstances change so quickly. All of a sudden, they've got a kid. All of a sudden, they got a new girlfriend. They got a new marriage. Then they divorced again, got another girlfriend, whatever. Then they live in Austria. Then they live in Serbia. Then they live in Russia, whatever. This is the generalist, okay? The crazy guy who always looks for something new. The unstableness of these people forces them to come up with a business idea which is able to carry this unstableness, okay, essentially. Usually big companies can't handle these kind of people. So, yeah, in the modern world where a lot of stuff is boring office jobs, it's not the kind of world where the generalist really shines. Yeah, that's just how it is. Music Scholar says, hey Manny, last question from me. I'm 176 centimeters tall, 65 kilograms, plus 7 centimeters ape index. Nice. When I read this, I must tell you that you have the perfect climbing body, by the way, just saying. 176 centimeters is just perfect. That's what I would wish to have. I am 173, and I'm just so often a little bit too short for a lot of stuff, okay? So at least for me to be perfect, yeah. And you've got plus 7 centimeters ape index, which is just perfect. And you've got 65 kilograms, which is lighter than me quite significantly. I weigh 67, 68 kilograms now. So this is pretty close to perfect. Congrats to you. You could be a little bit lighter if it was really super perfect. You could be probably around lower 60s, like 62, 61. Maybe that's even possible for you as well if you do a little bit of dry fasting or something. Not that you have to do that. Again, this is not necessarily healthy, but just saying. But starting age 23, yeah, that's quite a bit on the later side. What's possible, Max? Great. Do you think could I reach? Again, your morphology is amazing. And thanks very much to answering all the questions. Your morphology is amazing. If also your mind is set on this kind of thing, if you have the diligence, if you have the motivation and everything for training, I mean, when you're 30, you're gonna be in the sport for 7 years. That means you're 10 years in the sport at 33. I would say you could climb 8C. You could climb 8C. That's just what I throw out there. Now I don't know how is your finger strength genetics. I don't know how how good is your speed, okay? Your bite, your will to suffer. Yeah, this is something that is actually very important and also very genetically dependent. Some people just have a greater tolerance towards suffering than others, and obviously these people get farther when it comes to extreme sports like that. Yeah. So I don't know all this with you, but just judging from your body morphology and your starting age, you could surely climb 8C, man. You could climb 9A with this body if you had enough time, if you had also the privilege to be able to climb a lot outdoors. As I said previously, this matters a lot as well. But yeah, wow, we're already going 2 hours on the stream. Guys, if you enjoyed the stream, please drop a like. That would be very much appreciated by me. Thank you so much for your participation and for the awesome questions. I drink a toast onto you, my friends. Cheers from the amazing Paulana live stream receptacle filled with, today we have raspberry water. And as you can see, the raspberries started to melt quite nicely already. They were frozen when I threw them in there, and now it starts to actually get some color as well there. So it tastes really amazing now. Tanasi Chalas says, "Hi Manny, after almost 1 month break, do you think it is important to train in the gym or directly hitting easier routes outdoors should be enough?" Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm on a longer break when it comes to climbing for over 2 months now. What I'm gonna do is I am going to go to the climbing gym and I'm gonna hit the Beastmaker to see how much I can actually hang, because I've got a scale there, and we're gonna see how much finger strength in terms of kilograms, something that is trackable and notable, that we can remember, how much finger strength in terms of kilograms I have on various edges, namely on the middle one and the side one, both hands. And then we're simply gonna go from there and see how it develops. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with easier indoor routes. Simple reason being that this is usually relatively skin protecting, okay? Skin sparing. If you go on the outdoors with the kind of baby fairy princess skin that I have at the moment, I'm gonna razor myself off in the first 2 routes and I'm gonna be done. I don't want that, yeah? Even on easier routes outdoors. I don't want that. I want to be able to get a couple of moves done to get my body used to the climbing movement again. For that, I have to hit the gym and I have to hit easier routes. These holds are usually very round. They're convenient to hold. It's just good to move on them. It's just convenient to move on them. And this is how I am going to go personally get back to climbing. Yeah, this is going to happen next week on Tuesday, by the way. Very memorable day. Yeah, so we're gonna hit the gym that day. I'm gonna take the camera with me, and we're gonna, of course, document this amazing happening. But anyway, this is how I would get back into it, doing indoor routes. And once you rebuild your skin on your calluses, that you don't rip your skin open instantly once you grab a small hole outdoors, then you can move to the outdoors. Getting even thicker and nicer skin on the outdoors, maybe getting into outdoor rock climbing more, getting rid of fear of falling again. You will have a bit of fear of falling again because you haven't trained falling for such a long time. So that's only natural, yeah? You have to get rid of fear of falling again, do one or the other fall training with your partner and all that. And then slowly but surely also get into outdoor bouldering. And once the outdoor bouldering works, once you have enough skin for outdoor bouldering, then it's really going through the roof. Okay, then you can actually start riding the comeback wave and increasing max strength quite rapidly, combine that with hangboard training at home and all that. Yeah, so this is how I would come back, and this is how I will come back this time. I think we're quite close to finishing the stream up, my friends. We're already going for 2 hours. Pretty diligent night, pretty diligent evening today. Thanks for sticking with me for such a long time, my friends. Jordan Heller says, what would you say is the approximate ideal body fat percentage for climbing? Well, as low as possible. As low as possible. As low as possible. I mean, I would estimate okay, so let's go to 8a.nu, okay? 8a.nu, we see a picture of Adam Ondra at the very top of the page, looking super ripped and lean, obviously very conditioned for the event, yeah, which is what all of them understand to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, these people know what they're doing, yeah, otherwise they wouldn't be in the positions that they are in. They condition themselves as well. Adam Ondra in this picture has maybe 7% body fat or something, 6% body fat, yeah. So that's what you want to go for. A little bit more down, we see Laura Rogora wins clipping from the second last bolt, and there's a nice picture of her. I mean, this girl looks unhealthily thin, okay? Girls should not be thin like this. This girl is from just judging from looks, I mean, I know it's quite hard for girls to be below 10% body fat, but I would say she's below 10% body fat, which means that she's way below of what she would be health-wise ideally, okay? This is definitely going to attack your hormones. This is definitely going to delay your cycle and all that kind of stuff, yeah? If it's not going to completely remove your cycle altogether. So, yeah. This is what you want to aim at if you really want to make it in that game. Yeah, super low body fat. Not all people. Not saying that all people need to be that extreme. Yeah, it's just that the top people usually are as low body fat percentage as possible. And is this healthy? No, I mean, marathon running is not healthy as well. You look at the marathon runner, they are a super low body fat percentage as well. My body fat percentage increased significantly after moving from a high carb vegan diet to a more natural based diet that includes also quite a lot of animal products. But my health went up, okay? My health went up along with my body fat percentage. My overall weight went up as well. It was harder for me to pull the same numbers on my climbing performance, but I could, okay? And I could even pull better numbers than I was pulling back then. So had I still the crazy lean, super shredded, high-carb vegan body from back in the day, who knows, maybe my climbing performance would also be significantly better than it is now. But I'm at a point in my life where I do not feel the need anymore to sacrifice health for climbing performance. I want to have climbing performance in the frame of perfect health. This is my goal. Yeah? Perfect health. And on top of that, as a bonus, as an extra, I want to have good climbing performance. Yeah? These things go against each other at some point. You have to realize that. Yeah, dieting down to a crazy low body fat percentage is far from healthy, very far from healthy. So yeah, that's my take on that. James Dessing Hook says V14, 10%. Yeah. There is quite puffy climbers out there, yeah, which are for sure not so super lean, but still pull quite amazing stuff. So it's not necessarily always the case that you have to be just super shredded. But for this kind of endurance-y competition climbing efforts on rope, people usually are. On bouldering, less on bouldering. The people... I mean, some are crazy shredded on bouldering as well, but on bouldering, we can see the one or the other person who's not so shredded and still pulls quite good results. But the more fine-tuned we get with this kind of competition style, obviously, body types like these are rewarded more, yeah? So that's what we're gonna see more in the future. And yeah, as I said, for the girls especially, it's not very healthy. But anyway, you have to make sacrifices. Yeah, you have to know that. So guys, I would say that was an amazing stream. Thank you all for your participation. Leave a like, leave a comment. That's always appreciated. And I will also announce right away the next stream, which should take place at the same time, same place, which is here at my wonderful desktop here on this wonderful chair next Sunday, 9 p.m. GMT +2. Okay, we're gonna make a notification for that as well on the channel. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you all a very good night, and I will get to making the timestamps for the last stream and this stream hopefully soon enough. Yeah, life is busy around here, I must say. So we're trying to catch up. Yeah, but anyway, thanks for joining. Amazing. I will see you soon, my friends. Bye. Good night.